What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. Friday the 13th, January 2023. So, hey, big. I got a little bit of stuff going on tonight, a lot of NBA, but tomorrow, Super Wild Card weekend kicks off. NFL playoffs, 2023 version. I think it's going to be some fun games tomorrow. Joined by the judge like always, Sports Judge Jonathan Mathis. How's it going, man?
What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us, man. We got a great show because tomorrow is the start of the NFL playoffs. It's one of the most favorite times of the year for me. I mean, who doesn't love the NFL playoffs? If you're a football fan, you live for this moment. You live for this time of year. This is what you've been waiting for. And I'm gonna hang up a do not disturb sign so no one disturbs me this weekend because I will be glued to the TV. My eyes will be glued to the TV. I will be watching all these games, and I just do not want any distractions unless it's my daughter. My daughter, she gets a pass. She gets a pass, but no one else does. Because
I was
this is
getting ready to say, I was getting ready to say, you're going to do what Maddie tells you to do. It don't matter if football's on or not.
Hey, you know what? She's super chill when the games are on, though. She actually sits and watches the games with her dad. So, hey, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think she's gonna grow up to be a football fan like her dad. So we're off to a great start.
Oh
What's
yeah, I'm
up,
ready.
Ben?
I'm ready for the football game tomorrow. I think we're gonna have some good ones. Um,
Oh yeah.
before we start going into each game like we usually do on Friday nights. Uh, which coaches do you think are coaching for their jobs this weekend? Out of these teams we got going into the playoffs,
That's a
I
good.
think that
That's a
I
good
think
question.
maybe Mike McCarthy. If they lose to the Bucks, I think he could be maybe gone.
Yeah, Mike
Uh,
McCarthy is
I,
definitely on the hot seat. I
I
would
would say
say
maybe Brandon Staley with the Chargers if they lose to the Jaguars.
Brandon Staley's another name that you can put on the hot seat for sure. Absolutely.
I,
Especially
I think they were about to.
with him and his boneheaded decisions that
Hey, how's it going,
cost his
Glenn?
team a lot of times. So yeah, I can see him being on the hot seat as well.
Any other ones?
Mm,
I think them are probably about the only two I can think of off the top of my
yeah,
head.
yeah. Those are
John
the only.
Stokes says Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll is not going to be on the hot seat. I don't know. I think he stays regardless. I think he stays regardless. I don't see him getting fired. I'll be very shocked if he gets fired.
Yeah. Let me see something real quick.
Unless they get blown out 55-0 or something. Then maybe you can talk about him potentially being fired by the team. But I find it hard to believe that he would be fired. I just don't see that transpiring. I mean, you never know with these front offices, but I think Pete Carroll's job is safe for now.
I think about the only two that I can see how the coaches are in the playoffs is going to be maybe Mike McCarthy with the Cowboys, maybe Staley. Um, Other than that, unless the Bucks decide to do something with Todd Bowles after 1 year, but I mean, they're in the playoffs, so I wouldn't think they would. Um,
I don't know.
but their team has
They might
underperformed this year.
they might move on from him too. There was people calling for his job. I've
I
heard
think that'd be
fans
about the
calling
only
for his
ones
job.
because I think the Bengals coach isn't in jeopardy. I don't think Harbaugh with the Ravens is in jeopardy. Dayball with the Giants isn't.
No.
Uh, McDermott with the Bills isn't. I don't think Mike McDonald with the Dolphins is.
Oh no, those guys are definitely safe.
And Peterson with the Jaguars is safe.
Oh, absolutely. He engineered a dramatic turnaround.
And the only other one would be the 40 would be Shanahan, and he ain't going nowhere with the 49ers.
Going anywhere anytime soon. Shanahan, in fact, Shanahan is a mainstay because of what he has done during his time with the 49ers. It's incredible.
Yeah, so I'd say probably Staley and McCarthy are about the only two that I could say might be coaching for their jobs this weekend.
Staley's not.
No.
You look at how many injuries that he had to deal with this year, with Keenan Allen being gone, Mike Williams being gone, Herbert being hurt a little bit, their best cornerback J.C. Jackson going down with a torn ACL, and yet they finished the season going 6-1 in their last 7 games.
Unless he has clock management issues, then maybe.
And same thing with Pete Carroll. There's no way Pete Carroll's on a hot seat because no one expected him to do what he did with that roster this year.
Right. No. Pete Carroll.
The reason I can see maybe with Staley is because we said the same thing last year about the Chargers with injuries. So
but the difference was last year with the Chargers, though, a lot of their losses came from his decision making. This year they went 10-7. Granted, they still lost 7 games, but 4 of those 7 losses were pretty much because they had nobody. It was Justin Herbert and nobody else.
Right.
Drunk says if Trey Lance is a bust, Shanahan is out there in a few years. Well, probably not, because if Purdy keeps doing what he's doing, it ain't gonna matter if Trey Lance is a bust.
Right.
I don't think Shanahan's gonna be out there in a few years.
Would be fools. They would be idiots to fire. They would be idiots to fire Kyle Shanahan because he would get another job in a heartbeat. Another team would hire him in a heartbeat. In the blink of an eye. He won't be unemployed for a very long time if he does get fired.
Yeah, the thing that people don't realize too is the way Shanahan's system works, you can plug any quarterback into that system and they're going to be successful. You saw it with Jimmy Garoppolo this year after Lance went down. He was off to a great start before he got hurt. They go and plug in Brock Purdy, who was the last pick in the NFL draft, and it looks like he's a 5-year veteran in that system.
Right, exactly. And that's why that offense is one of the most daring, one of the most creative, and one of the most exciting offenses to watch because Kyle Shanahan, schemes very well and he has a great game plan and it just works wonders for that 49ers team, and that's why they have had the success that they've had thus far with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. I keep telling people, watch out for the 49ers. They could be the team that come out of the NFC this year. And I stay by my word. I've been saying that since they got hot, down the stretch.
I've been on the 49ers even before they got hot.
You've been on the bandwagon for quite some time, but I've seen some games where that defense just kicked it into gear and the defense was smothering and able to come up with some big stops. They were able to give the ball back to the offense. The offense would do enough to go to work. The offense has weapons all over the field. You got guys that can create for themselves. You can space the field. You can make things happen offensively. That's how great the 49ers are. And they have a lot of dynamic playmakers on their roster as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go to the Super Bowl and Kyle Shanahan is not going anywhere anytime soon because the dude is a genius. He's a freaking genius.
John, I thought Lovie Smith done about as good as he could do with what he had as well. It wasn't really a surprise fire to me, just because the Texans, they done the same thing last year to Coley. So, and I think they're going to do it with Josh McCown as their next coach. They've talked about it for the last couple of years. I think they're finally going to do it. Drunk says Brock
Well,
Purdy win
you
the
know,
Super Bowl. Will he be
the
49ers
Texans
permanent
are who
QB?
they are.
Yeah.
The Texans are who they are. It's a dumpster fire, you know, and they're going to continue to splash dumpster juice
No,
in the
Glenn.
faces of coaches because that's who they are. If they don't give coaches a chance, you know,
No,
they
Glenn.
expect overnight success, and it doesn't work like that.
No,
Well,
Glenn.
you have to
I've been on that train for a while, Glenn, but not that long.
you have to you have to look at the Texans owner though too now. I think he's trying to prove a point. And I hate to say it, but you look at the coach they had last year. They had David Culley as their coach last year. They have Lovie Smith as their coach this year. And you've always heard that talk over the last 5 years that African American and minority coaches have such a difficult time getting a head coaching job because for whatever reason, certain owners don't think that they deserve to have a head coaching job. And now you look at the Houston Texans situation, two African American coaches in 2 years, and they fired both of them. I think he's trying to prove a point that African Americans don't deserve a coach.
That's crazy though. That's
You know,
insane to me.
I know it's crazy, but the Houston Texans owner's crazy.
Right. And you know, if you're gonna fire a black coach and then hire another black coach, and you feel that way about minorities, then why even take a shot with them? You know,
Because it's an easy way out for him. Can you imagine if he would have brought it? Can you imagine if he would have brought in a guy like Jim Harbaugh or a guy like Sean Payton, and they would have had the same exact year that Lovie Smith had? Do you think Sean Payton would have got fired? Do you think Jim Harbaugh would have got fired?
of course not.
Exactly. It's an easy out for him to say, "Well, Lovie Smith is not the guy that we want leading our franchise to the future."
Right.
I don't know if I can't go that far, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. John Payton, and Jim Harbaugh to them coaches, because them coaches don't have that kind of experience yet. But I'm not saying the guy. Hey, I don't know the Houston Texas coach. I ain't seeing enough evidence for me just to accuse a guy of doing something like that. You were talking about the 49ers, Judge. What do you think is going to happen this weekend? You got the Seahawks 49ers. That's the first game of the playoffs tomorrow. 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern time.
Well, before we get into that, I just want to.
You got something?
I want to respond to what John put in the comment column, and he asked the question.
Oh yeah, this one. Yep.
Who's the coach of the year? And to me, it's close. You can't diminish what Brian DeBall has accomplished with the New York Jets. The New York Giants in one season. It's been an amazing run for the Giants. The Giants saw a quick turnaround in 1 year with the ball. He completely came in. He changed the culture. I think the players believe in the ball. They bought into his philosophy and I think he came in and he set the expectations and his players lived up to it. The players seem to want to play for him. So yeah, that's wonderful. It's been fantastic. It's been a fantastic year for the ball and the Giants. But then you look at what Doug Peterson has accomplished in one season as well with the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's simply inspiring as well, and it's encouraging for a team that was looking for a guy to come in and someone that can get this team get this team to where it is now. I got to go with Peterson because look, last year Jacksonville was a disaster, right? We talked about Urban Myers and how they had to deal with the toxicity, and they had to deal with the distractions involving him, and then you hire a guy like Doug Peterson, who to many wasn't a favorable choice. It was a lot of people criticized the hire. They felt that, Byron Leftwich should have got the job, or our in-house name should have got the job. But Doug Peterson was well deserving of it, and he showed us why. Look, he's innovative. He's savvy. He's gutsy. That's what I think I like about him a lot. He's willing to take a chance. He's a risk taker. And he has given his players a chance to flourish. I also think, with Trevor Lawrence and the year that he's had, I think Doug Peterson deserves credit for a lot of that, for helping with the development of Trevor Lawrence as well. So to me, Doug Peterson is my coach of the year, and I would kind of be very surprised if he doesn't win coach of the year. But look, it could go either way. Because the ball, you can make an argument for him. You can also make an argument for Dan Campbell with what he's done with the Lions. You can make an argument for him too. But I think Doug Peterson is going to be coach of the year this year. I think he's going to be named coach of the year.
Okay. I think it's going to be Dayball, and kind of for the same reasons you said, because Peterson has turned Lawrence around, but look at the turnaround Daniel Jones has had under Dayball. The last 3 years with Jones, the Giants haven't been able to do anything with all the three different coaches they kept getting. Dayball's came in his first year being able to get him to the playoffs. Like you said, I think it could go either way, but for me, I think I would go with Dayball just a little bit over Peterson.
What you think, Stat Guy?
I think both of them deserve it, but I don't think either one of them is going to win it. I think Nick Sirianni is going to get it. Because you look at Philadelphia, that team was a 9-8 team last year. Barely made the playoffs last year. All they did really was add A.J. Brown this year, and then they traded for Robert Quinn during the year, but Robert Quinn didn't do much for Philadelphia because he was hurt. Philadelphia was the last unbeaten team left in the NFC. They were the number one team in the NFC from start to finish. And he got Jalen Hurts playing at an MVP level.
Mm-hmm. Those are all fair arguments. It's going to be interesting because, it's been a weird year in the NFL, and you had a lot of teams that saw turnarounds. You had a lot of teams that looked like they improved in 1 year, and you had a lot of teams that looked like bottom feeders and that were inferior. All of a sudden, they were able to contend for the playoffs, and they looked more relevant than ever before. So,
I have another name to throw in there too that nobody even mentions, and I don't understand how they don't mention him.
Who is it?
Mike Tomlin. 14 years as a head coach with the Steelers. Now he still has yet to have a losing season. And you look at the roster that Mike Tomlin inherited this year with Kenny Pickett, with Mitch Trubisky, with Mason Rudolph as his quarterbacks. They did not have Chase Claypool all year. They did not have Juju Smith-Schuster. They lost a lot of pieces on that defense. Started the year, 2-7, and they ended up finishing 9-8 and just missing the playoffs. Mike Tomlin deserves just as much consideration for Coach of the Year as anybody.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh, man, they, like you said, they came a long way because they got off to a tough start. It was rough for them to begin the season, and then you mentioned it. Mike Tomlin once again finished with a winning season. It's incredible, given that he inherited a roster that was banged up with injuries. A quarterback, you had a quarterback situation there earlier in the year. Kenny Pickett took over the offense. You was trying to figure out which quarterback will work for your offense, and you had a lot of guys that were just out, and a lot of guys that missed a lot of action, and he still managed to lead that team to a 9-8 season. It's impressive. It really is impressive what Mike Tomlin has done with a team that's very good and with a team that is fairly below average. It's amazing.
Yeah, my dad and I were talking about it, Mike Tomlin earlier in the week about how impressive it is not to have a losing season and to be able to season they had this year, be able to come back and go on a run there toward the end of the season and get back above 500. Um, but all right, let's talk a little playoffs here. Seattle 49ers. What do you think? Who you got tomorrow, Judge?
That's going to be a very good game. The 49ers beat the Seahawks in the two previous meetings this year by a combined score of 48-20. And we all know teams that have won the first two meetings and then hosted the third meeting are 14-9 in the postseason matchup since the 1970 merger. For the 49ers to advance, they'll need their rookie quarterback to continue his remarkable play. They're going to need him to be productive. They're going to need him to not turn over the football. I mean, if I'm him, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to settle in. You're going to have your jitters. You're going to have your nerves. Of course, he's gonna be a little nervous because it's a playoff game. It's a game of it's a game of that magnitude. So I mean, a lot is dependent on you. There's gonna be a lot on your shoulders, but I don't think he will be too nervous out there. I don't think he will have too much butterflies in his stomach because he has a great defense behind him. So he doesn't have to get too cute. He doesn't have to get too fancy. Just make the throws necessary to keep your team in the game. Make sure your team moves the ball successfully and put them in a good situation where they can win the game. I think the 49ers will win this game. Christian McCaffrey will have at least 125 yards from scrimmage. That's what I'm predicting. I think, the run defense has been a problem for the Seahawks this season, and poor tackling has been one of the biggest reasons. So I think the 49ers will run all over the Seahawks. I think Christian McCaffrey will have a big day on the ground, and I got to go with the 49ers. This is going to be a tough matchup for Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, and I also see Geno Smith making some mistakes because you can easily get caught up against this 49ers defense. I'm telling you, this 49ers defense is legit. So I'm going to go with the 49ers because I think they can I think they can hurt you in a variety of ways, and I think they are going to be relentless on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 49ers as well. And I agree with you with that defense, but that defense needs to get back to playing like they were about 4 weeks ago. The last couple of weeks, they didn't play real great, but they're still a top level defense. And they went like 4 or 5 weeks in a row without giving up any points in the second half of games. If they play like that, they're going to be a tough out. It's going to be interesting to see how Purdy reacts during that first quarter of a playoff game, how he controls those nerves. But I think with all the weapons around him, as long as he don't try to do too much, he'll be all right. So, yeah, I like the 49ers as well over Seattle.
Yeah, and the thing with Purdy is I don't think he's going to have to worry at all during the first quarter because I think it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, and then a little bit of Deebo Samuel mixed into the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Purdy throws more than 5 passes in that first quarter because I think San Francisco is going to try to set the tone right away. They always say it is tough to beat a team 3 times in 1 year, and granted that San Francisco has handled Seattle twice already this year. I think Seattle makes a game out of it, and I think Seattle does keep the game a lot closer than what most people expect. But the ultimate X factor is going to be that San Francisco defense, and it's just that defense has played at such an elite level for so long. I just don't see a way that Seattle is going to force that 49ers defense into a position that they haven't seen before.
Yeah, I think it could be a pretty close game, but I just think 49ers come out on top. I agree with what you're saying. And I think for Seattle to win, their defense is going to have to come up with a turnover or two from that San Francisco offense. They're going to have to force Purdy into a mistake or two, I think, for them to for Seattle to win the game. Damien says Seattle by 10. John Suggs says 49ers 24-14. Chargers and Jaguars is the night game tomorrow night, Saturday night game. Who you going with here, Judge?
Man, this is going to be an interesting game because you got the number 5. You got number 5 Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, Herbert and Lawrence are going to throw haymakers in this game. I can see this being one of those games where it's going to be a wild night. It's going to be one of those dramatic wild card games, and it could come down to a last second field goal. Maybe Cameron Dicker will get the game winning field goal. Dicker the kicker, they like to call him. I think it could come down to that, but Herbert and Lawrence are on the big stage. Both of them are making their first playoff start. Lawrence has to play really well. It's a win or go home game, so you don't have a chance to redeem yourself. And he has 5 turnovers in his past 4 games, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. So he's going to have to take care of the football. There's no margin for error. He can't afford to make any mistakes in this game. They're going to have him play a cleaner game if they have a chance to win. But I'm going to go. I'm gonna say the Chargers. I mean, it's been a nice run for Jacksonville. Yes, they reversed their fortunes with their great play throughout the course of the season. It's been a great season for them. It's been a great season for Lawrence. It's been a great season for the Jaguars overall. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers come away with a win.
All right. Damien says Jags 34-27. Who you got, Stagger?
All week I was riding the Chargers pretty much from start to finish just because I just think that a lot of the Chargers have been in this position before. They just never got over the hump, as opposed to Jacksonville's got a very young team. But you do have to remember that Jacksonville beat the Chargers 38-10 at Los Angeles in Week 3.
Yep.
Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were not playing in that Week 3 matchup. Mike Williams is not playing again in this matchup. So literally the Jacksonville Jaguars can basically double team Keenan Allen the entire game if they want to and force guys like Jesse Palmer and other people to beat them. And I just don't think the Chargers are good enough without Mike Williams to beat the Jaguars. So I'm going to go the Jaguars in overtime, 23-20.
John Suggs says, I want to say Chargers by Trust Peterson over Staley. Herbert is going to be without one of his wide receivers. Lawrence is questionable, but he will play. And Pryor and Agnew is questionable. John says Chargers 26-21. What worries me about the Chargers some is Mike Williams not being there and Brandon Staley's decision making sometimes. But I kind of went back and forth on this game all week. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Basically, I'm trusting Justin Herbert a little bit more than Lawrence just because he has a little bit more experience. That's basically, and I think that Chargers defense has been playing a lot better here the last 2 or 3 weeks coming into the playoffs. But I'm going to go Chargers 24-21. Then Sunday, first game of the day, you get the Dolphins at the Bills. Skylar Thompson starting at quarterback for the Dolphins. Who you got, Judge?
Well, the Dolphins are going into this matchup injured in a big way. For one, you don't have Tua Tagovailoa. He's being ruled out. So, you got the rookie preparing to start. You're also without running back Raheem Mostert, who will also not play after undergoing surgery on a broken thumb. So there goes your running game. The last time these two teams met, Mostert ran for 136 yards against the Bills. When the team played in Buffalo last month, and we all saw what happened. The Dolphins abandoned the run game for whatever reason. But that happened back then. The Bills are playing with heavy hearts still. They want to win it for Damar Hamlin. We all know how tragedy turned into a triumph for the Buffalo Bills, and I think the Buffalo Bills have more of a purpose now. They have more of a reason to play hard and to play for their teammate. And I think they're going to beat the Dolphins. I think the Bills are the better team, right? The Bills have Josh Allen, who to me is one of the top quarterbacks in the league, no doubt about it. And I think the Bills' offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, is going to take advantage of Miami's heavy usage of single high defensive alignments by getting receiver Stephon Diggs downfield on glance skinny post routes and let Josh Allen deliver some deep shots down the field, and that will be the ball game. So I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
What do you think, Stat Guy?
Of all the playoff games this week, and I think this one has the best chance to be over by halftime. I mean, you don't have Tua Tagovailoa playing, and when Tua starts, Miami is 8-2 or 8-3. You don't have Teddy Bridgewater playing, and Teddy Bridgewater has already proven that he's a very capable backup that knows how to win a playoff game. But instead, you're starting a guy named Skylar Thompson, who has 2 career games under his belt, under 250 yards passing in those 2 career games with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. And now you're going to Buffalo, who obviously is playing with heavy hearts. They're obviously playing with much more added emotion than what they had before. I think Buffalo is just going to run them off the field, similar to what they did to New England last year in that wild card weekend where that game was pretty much over by halftime. I don't think Dolphins stand a chance in this one. I know stranger things can happen, but I'm sorry, Skylar Thompson or Josh Allen. I'm definitely going with Josh Allen in that matchup any day. And we've already seen Leslie Frazier and his ability to kind of rattle rookie quarterbacks. I think Skylar Thompson's in for a very long afternoon on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I think actually on our sports betting show, the Bills are 13.5-point favorites, and I took the 13.5 points with the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win by at least 2 touchdowns in this game. When you have a tragedy like that, and then the way the guys recovered, that can galvanize a team. But just not even that. Especially without Tua, I think the Bills are they got more weapons. They're the more talented team, and a lot of times whoever has the best quarterback is going to win some of these playoff games. So I like the Bills big here against the Dolphins as well. Then the afternoon game on on Sunday, is the Giants at the Vikings. Vikings are 3-point favorites. Stat Guy, I'll let you go first this time since the Vikings are your team.
The amount of disrespect the Vikings are getting this week is just absolutely crazy. Yes, this team is 13-4. Yes, they had a negative point differential, but they still won 13 games, and that's not by accident. They won 11 one-score games this year and were 11-0 in one-score games this year, which has never been done in NFL history. You have Kirk Cousins, 8 come-from-behind game-winning drives this year, the most in the NFL. He has 14 comeback victories the last 2 years, the most in the NFL. Another thing that nobody talks about with Kirk Cousins. If you want to beat Minnesota, you have to get them down by multiple scores early and put them away. Because if you let Minnesota hang around, they're going to find a way to win this game. And I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway from this game. I think the Giants are able to keep things close, similar like to what they did week 16 when Minnesota won on a 61-yard field goal. But if they can't put Minnesota away early, Minnesota is going to find a way to win this game, and I think Minnesota wins actually 27-17. I think the Giants keep it within 3 points most of the game, but then I think a late turnover by Daniel Jones will ultimately seal the fate of the Giants.
What happened?
I think you can go, Jonathan. Chris just put in the comments that he'll be right back.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm with you. I think the Vikings are gonna pull it out this time around. I know the Giants blitzed on 43% of Cousins dropbacks in the last matchup, sacking him 4 times and hitting him on 9 other occasions. I get that. But who's gonna stop Justin Jefferson? I think he's gonna have a big game. I think he can go for 200 plus yards receiving. I think he will have a big afternoon on Sunday. The Vikings, to me, are going to win. Now, the Vikings, I know they've been a little shaky at times. Sometimes they've been unpredictable at times. And, you wonder how deep they can go into the playoffs. A lot of people talk about them getting exposed. A lot of people talk about them not being the actual playoff team. You hear all these negative things about the Vikings, but the Vikings in the wild card round this weekend, they should pull it out against the Giants.
I guess a scary part to me too, and the NFL should be worried about this too. This is a team that won 13 football games, and you could argue that they have yet to play a full 60-minute game. We've seen spurts like against the Colts when they were down 33-0, and then all of a sudden the rest of the game they outscored them 39-3. We've seen spurts against the Giants too this year where they got off to like a 20-7 lead before they let the Giants back into it. Like what this team can look like when they play a full game. And the scary part is I think the closest game that they've had to a full game was against Green Bay Packers that first game of the season when they beat Green Bay 23-7. If Minnesota can play a full 60-minute game start to finish, there's not too many teams that I would pick to beat the Vikings just because they have all the offensive weapons to put up points. Granted, their defense is not that great. Their defense still is in the top 20 in points allowed. They may give up a lot of yards, but the one thing that they don't do is they don't typically give up a lot of touchdowns. They let you get into the red zone, but when you're in the red zone, most often, I think 66% of the time, teams settle for field goals. If you're allowing field goals and if you're getting touchdowns, it doesn't matter how many yards you're going to give up, you're going to win games. And that's why I just want to see what this team looks like if they can put a full 60-minute game together, because 13 wins, and with basically 12 of those 13 wins coming when you don't play a full 60-minute game, that's scary to think about.
Right on.
Who you got, Judge?
Oh, I got the Vikings. I don't think anyone's going to be able to slow down Justin Jefferson. I think he has a big day productively, and I think, Kirk Cousins will still find a way to, get the ball off, to deliver to his receivers. We all know what it was the last time when these two teams met. The Giants were able to put pressure on him, sack him, and get after him. But I think it would be a different story this time around. I think the Giants will keep the game close. But I think in the end, the Vikings will pull it out. Actually, I think the Giants will get off to an early. I think the Giants will get the lead early in the game, and I think the Vikings will pull off one of their magical comebacks that we've been seeing quite often this season.
I love how Damian says the Vikings haven't played anybody yet this year, and yet they're 4-1 against AFC East and NFC East teams that have made the playoffs. So against 5 teams that are in the playoff field right now, they're 4-1 against them.
So that means they played somebody. Yes.
With their only loss coming at Philadelphia in week 2. They went into Buffalo and won. They beat New England at home. They beat the Jets at home. They beat the Giants at home, and they went to Washington and won. Granted, yes, they got blown out by Dallas, which it is what it is. That's one game. No, so they're 4-2, 4-2 in the playoffs. They lost to Philly and Dallas, but they beat everybody else from those two divisions. So obviously they played teams. And then you look at the rest of their schedule. They've also had other playoff teams on their schedule that they've played and beaten. It's not like they haven't played anybody. They just haven't looked good more often than not, which, trust me, being a Viking fan has been a struggle this year because I'm waiting for them to actually put a full game together, and I have to sit there the entire time and be like, oh my God, are we going to let this one get away? Are we going to figure out a way to come back and win? But that other part of Damien's comment that he doesn't trust Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, does anybody remember the last time Kirk Cousins made the playoffs with the Vikings, what he did? Because I know what he did. He went into the New Orleans Superdome and led the Vikings to a road victory in overtime against the Saints. Then he went into San Francisco the very next week in the divisional round and actually gave Minnesota the Vikings the lead late in the third quarter against the 49ers until the 49ers put it away in the fourth. So I do definitely trust Kirk Cousins in the playoffs because the last time he went to the playoffs with the Vikings, he went on the road twice, picked up a road win in overtime, and actually gave the 49ers the best game of anybody in the playoffs that year.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's shows that he can play in the playoffs. I don't buy into that. I think Kirk Cousins takes a lot of flack that he don't really deserve. But I am on the opposite end of this than you guys are. I think the Giants by a field goal. They lost by a field goal last time. I think they're going to win this one by a field goal. I think that Giants defense will. I think Giants defense is going to slow that offense down a lot, but I think the Giants offense with Saquon Barkley is going to get hit. The running game going to be able to control that clock some and enough to stay in the game. And then I think they're going to find a way at the end. I think it's going to be probably the best. I think it has the opportunity to be the best game of the weekend. Ravens and Bengals, no Lamar Jackson. What do you think, Judge?
Well, Cincinnati is looking to win playoff games in back-to-back postseasons for the first time in franchise history. Baltimore's quarterback is not going to play. Lamar Jackson is out after announcing he is recovering from a grade 2 PCL sprain. So what that means is Tyler Huntley is getting the start. I like Cincinnati in this game. Cincinnati's offense, however, will have to contend with a Baltimore defense that was revitalized. We all know about the midseason accusation of linebacker Roquan Smith, right? But I do think Joe Burrow will find a way. I mean, that's what the Bengals have been doing so well throughout the playoffs, right? They've been finding a way to come away with wins. I mean, that's been their formula, right? Is to find a way to squeeze out a victory. And they have done that down the stretch. The defense has picked it up here lately. You got Joe Burrow, cool Joe. He brings the swagger in every game, it seems. I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals to win, but it won't be easy against a Ravens team that's going to put a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow, and that's going to try to make it difficult for Joe Burrow. We all know about their offensive line woes at times, but I do think in the end, by the time it's all said and done, the Bengals will come out on top.
Yeah, I like the Bengals as well. The only thing that worries me just a little bit, not that about losing, but I think the game might be a little bit closer, is because Bengals have a couple offensive linemen that have got hurt here the last couple games. But I just think the Bengals are going to be able to put up enough points, especially with no Lamar Jackson. And it might not even be Huntley. It might be Brown starting for the Ravens. They have it because Huntley's banged up as well. So, but yeah, I think the Bengals win this game. And then Monday night, that guy's back. What do you think about the Bengals Ravens?
The clock on Lamar Jackson and his future in Baltimore starts now. He's not playing, and I think everyone knew that already, but it was kind of just made public yesterday that he will not be playing. It's not clear whether or not Brett Hundley is going to be playing yesterday. He did practice today. He practiced on a limited basis, but it's still not decided if he's going to play on Sunday. So without those two, what chance does Baltimore really have against Cincinnati, who's got the longest winning streak in the AFC right now, who's peaking at the right time, who's looking like the Cincinnati team that made the Super Bowl last year. I kind of put it in a similar situation to Miami right now. I don't think they stand much of a chance against Cincinnati without Lamar Jackson playing. And honestly, I don't think anybody really cares because should Buffalo and Cincinnati both win, we're going to get the matchup that we didn't get to see 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think that's what's going to happen as well. Okay, and then Monday night. Yeah, John, I knew they were going to try to get a contract with Quinn.
They're going to franchise tag Lamar.
Roquan Smith. I mean, Roquan Smith. I knew they're going to try to get it. Yeah, I figured they're going to try to franchise tag Lamar.
They don't want to give him guaranteed dollars.
But Monday night, Cowboys and Bucks. Who you going with, Judge?
Man, I'm going to come out and say it like this, man. I know I'm going to hurt the feelings of Cowboys fans. I know Cowboy fans might come after me for this, but I can't trust in Dak Prescott. I just can't. I feel like he's going to make a mistake, in a crucial moment of the game. And so I'm going to have to go with the Bucks, man. I think the Bucks come away with a low-scoring victory in this one. And the Bucks defense has held the Cowboys to just 71 rushing yards in week 1. I know that was a long time ago, but still, I don't know. The Cowboys, to me, man, they're just too one-dimensional. They rely too much on Dak Prescott. They need to run the football more, particularly against the Bucks, but they're not going to do that knowing the Dallas Cowboys because they like to go through the air with Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott, to me, is going to throw another pick, most likely a pick 6, because that's been that has been the case for him this season. And I seen that Twitter post that showed the Cowboys winning and losing pattern, and I'm not buying it this time. I think the Cowboys still lose this game. I don't see the Cowboys beating the Buccaneers, but I will say this: Brady and the Bucks will survive the first round, but after that, they're done.
Yeah, Davian says Bucks 50-14. I don't know about that. I don't know if the Bucks.
No, it won't be now. That's crazy. No, it won't be.
I don't think the Bucks are capable of scoring 50 points this season. The way that their offenses look, but I gotta agree with you, Judge. I'm going with the Bucks and Tom Brady in this game. Earlier in the year, I was behind Dallas. I thought the way that defense was playing, I thought they were going to go deep into the playoffs. But last 3 or 4 weeks, they haven't played well. I mean, they got manhandled last week by a Washington team starting a third-string quarterback. Barely beat the Texans. They're kind of stumbling into the playoffs. Since Dak Prescott's came back, he leads the league in interceptions. So they're not really, like Stat Guy said, the Bengals are peaking at the right time. The Cowboys haven't peaked at the right time. And not that the Bucks have, but the last 2 or 3 weeks have been all win or go home games for the Bucks. So I think the Bucks are going to win a low-scoring game, but I like the Bucks here. I trust in Tom Brady a little bit more than Dak Prescott. What do you think, Stat Guy?
I'm actually picking Dallas in this one. And I said this last week when the playoff brackets were revealed and you saw who was playing who. Regardless of where Dallas is sitting right now seed-wise, they have the easiest path to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC. They get the worst team in the NFC in the first round in Tampa Bay, which, yes, it is in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay did beat Dallas 19-3 earlier this season, but that was the game that Dak Prescott got hurt. And we already saw Dallas's defense kept them in the game long enough where I think if Dak Prescott plays week 1, Dallas finds a way to win that game. If Dallas beats Tampa Bay, chances are they're going to go to Philadelphia, a team who they just beat 3 weeks ago. Dallas realistically has the easiest path of any of these teams to get to the NFC title game. Whether they make it or not is up to them and depending on how they play. But they don't have to play their best football on Monday to win this game. And right now, I think that's their focus. I think they just want to get through the wild card round so they can prepare for Philadelphia. Because they almost beat Philadelphia with Cooper Rush the first time in Philadelphia. Then they did beat Philadelphia. Granted, Jalen Hurts didn't play, but they still beat Philadelphia in Dallas the second time. So Dallas does not fear Philadelphia, and that's a matchup that I think I would look forward to more so than a Philly-San Francisco game, because I think that might be the best matchup in the NFC playoff picture.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I just can't. The way Dak Prescott's been playing it scares me with the Cowboys. But
And
yeah,
the
it'll
thing
be
is
fun.
too, though, they have to get back to running the football, and I think that's what they do against Tampa Bay. I don't think they're going to let Dak Prescott throw 40 to 45 times against Tampa Bay. I think they're going to feed the ball to Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott a lot to wear down that Tampa Bay defense. And then when they need Dak Prescott to pass, I think they're going to let him. I just don't think they're going to let him throw 45 times against Tampa Bay.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope they don't do that, because then that will be a way of self-destruction if they do that. You know, that's what they need to do, is run the ball. But I don't know if Mike McCarthy's going to do that. I don't know if Kellen Moore is going to do that, because Kellen Moore's play calling sometimes is so damn questionable. I'm sitting there wondering, like, why the heck did you do that? Why did you call that play? You know, so yes, I think they do need to get back to running the football, but are they going to do that? That's another question. That remains to be seen. We won't know until Monday night.
All right, Judge. Was there anything else you wanted to hit on that we haven't hit on?
I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm ready. I'm fired up for tomorrow. The games are going to be good. I will have my short takes. I will have my predictions. I'm all ready for tomorrow. The games are going to be good. I will be here at home watching all of those games tomorrow. Watching those two games tomorrow. It's going to be a rainy, wet day here in Southern California, so I'm going to stay inside where it's warm and cozy. I'm going to have my blanket. I'm going to have some food. I'm going to have some
What's the temperature there?
Like in the 50s.
He's talking about warm.
I'm going to have some hot wings. I'm going to have some popcorn. I'm going to have some nachos and chips.
Man, how hot are your hot wings?
I'm going to have some chips and some cheese to dip it in. It's going to be a nice Saturday for me. Just a day of football and a day of, you know, talking about football. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Judge, how hot do you like your hot wings?
It depends. It depends on where they're from, you know, who cooks them, how they're cooked. I'm gonna say I like them real hot, but I also like the mild sometimes as well. I mean, again, it just depends on where the wings come from. If they come from Wingstop, I could have them hot. If they come from Buffalo Wild Wings, I could have them pretty hot as well.
You get the blazing?
Huh?
Said you get the blazing from B-Dubs?
I could get the blazing. I could do the blazing without having to chase it down with water. I can handle the spiciness. I can handle the hotness. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm not one that's gonna go, you know, like a puppy dog or something, because the wings are too damn hot. No, the wings are delicious. So yeah, I'll be ready for tomorrow, man, and you know, I'll be around, you know, talking about these games as I usually do, because that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm ready for tomorrow too. Watching football. I wish they'd have done 3 games tomorrow and 3 games Sunday instead of having the Monday night game. But
actually, I'm down for the Monday night game. I think that's something different. I think that's actually cool, because now we have a football game on Monday night. We're not left without a game on Monday night. We have something to do. All of us football fans and all of us sports media members and writers out there have something to do Monday night.
I guess that's true.
Sometimes it's okay
We'll be
to
going
violate tradition and change things up a little bit.
when we go.
Sometimes change is
when we
good.
go
Not
live.
all change is bad.
Oh no, I agree. Not all change is bad. I'd like to have an early game tomorrow and not have to wait till 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, I'm fine with that. It gives me time to run errands if I have.
Oh well, yeah, because at your time it's what, like 1.
Yeah, that gives me
1:30,
plenty of
right?
time in California to run
See, my
errands.
time it's 4:30 in the afternoon, so I got to wait all morning long.
But like I said, I don't plan on going anywhere today. I did everything I had to do today.
Oh yeah, I don't got nothing I have to do tomorrow really, so hey, I'm not worried about it. Monday night we'll be live as that game's getting close to probably ending. So, Stat Guy, you got anything before we get out of here?
Not really, just kind of on the same page as you guys, where I'm just waiting for football to start tomorrow. Hopefully, we at least get some good games, because with the injuries to a few of those teams, I think a couple of those games could get ugly. But it is playoff football, and that always seems to mean that there's a lot of good games that come from it. So hopefully that's the case once again.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the playoffs last year. How things went and shocked a lot of us. So, I'm ready to see what this year brings. But we appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room, at the Sports Judge, and at the All Sports All Plays Network. Like and follow us Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. All at Gonzo Sports Room, All Sports All Plays. Sports Judges on Facebook and everything as well. We appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back on Monday, 11 p.m. Eastern, with another episode of Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. Everybody have a safe weekend. Enjoy your playoff football, and we'll see you Monday night.